Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast Shadowverse episode with me, your host, Imperial Dane. The one, the only place to go for, well, Shadowverse videos, I hope. But anyways, off here to a video about Abomination Burn Rune, a particular variant of Burn Rune that's posted by Matum on Twitter here recently. I thought, hey, that looks cool, in part because I already had one animated Abomination Awake, and I kind of thought, well, I kind of want to use it, but I'm not entirely sure what sort of deck to stuff it into. For that matter, if I should create another one. But in this case, this deck list appeared. He's been also the chap who sort of posted out the aggro combo blood deck. So I kind of figured, alright, if he put that out, they should be reasonably functional as well. And well, so far I'd say it is. In most parts, it runs like the usual sort of setup, shall I say, burn runes, though it does run goblins, which some did, so it's a bit more aggressive further than just the average one. It's got Magic Illusionist, which has been slowly been phased out, but with this deck makes an appearance. Witcher Foresight, which helps you just draw your finishing spells, essentially, so that way you have you can either build up a big hand for Wizard of Resource to just discount, or you have something you can actually discount. Mr. Wormers also makes an appearance, good 2-drop and useful 6-drop. Then you got the Abomination Awakening. You only run 2 off because you don't want 3, because you're basically reliant on the evolution points. So you just, only got 2 to ensure you don't suddenly fill up your hand with them and you can't do anything anyways. You got the Carl, Pious Instructor, Halo Golem, and the rest of the usual suspects. But again, this sort of represents a bit of a sort of unusuality, and this again, not so unusual, but still there. Overall, an aggressive deck, and kind of expensive, but still overall on the reasonably more cheaper side compared to some of the other sort of higher tier lists, like Mid-Range Sword or Haven. Again, it only runs 5 legendaries essentially. One thing to keep in mind, though, it's actually going to lose a lot of tools here. With the next rotation, basically loses Magic Illusionist, Halo Golem, and Mutagenic Bolt, which actually represents some notable losses here for the deck. And it'll be interesting to see how Burn Rune handles it, if it handles it at all, come that. But anyways, let's give this deck a go and see how it performs, shall we? We're up against Portalcraft. We're going second, but generally against Portalcraft we're usually sort of well off. I don't want Stasia's Telescope in this case, can't I? I want to put a better curve than possible than this, and there we go. Silent Laboratory, Magic Illusionists. They should work out reasonably, particularly pull a Goblin or something else. So let's see where this goes. Well, we got 2 Silent Laboratories. We got Mutagenic Bolt as well. Now the interesting bit is what he plays here. Magic Steel Line. 2 Analyzing Artifacts into the deck. Behold, the Silent Laboratory. Well, not so silent when that thing pops up, does it? We'll see what he has next up in his sleeve. Fervent Machine Soldier. Well, in that case, we play Magic Illusionist. Well, I could also play Silent Laboratory to ensure I actually get something to pop Halo Golem with. I think I'll do that. I run the risk if I play Magic Illusionist, I can't trigger them. I mean, theoretically, you could run this substitution, just banish it, but more than likely, that's not going to be the case. I could theoretically gone for a more value trait there, but I'm kind of playing as the aggressive deck here, so part of me just wants to deal as much damage as possible. Though as you might notice, I'm quickly running out of board track to work with here. It's obviously not without its risks. I think I'm just going to keep pushing out here. Hopefully pull something useful on turn 5 rather than my Magic Illusionists. Oh, they got 2 big threats down. Now he's down to 14. Shouldn't be easily able to deal with this board anyways. But I prefer not having to play on Magic Illusionist down on turn 5, because I want to be able to set up for Master Mage Levi to just, casually nuke his entire board. But looks like I might not quite have that level of luck. There we go, he's forced to trade in quite a bunch here to deal with it. Which is good. Which is very good. Alright, Carl, you can work with. That's it. Also means they're less likely to be able to clear out that one too easily without, well, Dan expending all of my Earthright, so that sets up more likely for Master Mage Levi next turn. So I'm liking this, I'm liking this. To an extent. Hakurabi. Nah, ancient artifact. Rats. Well, even then he can't clear it out successfully. He'll still leave me with one Earthright. Actually, never mind. Never mind, he can actually do that. If he wants to. Which he should want to, really, unless he really wants to preserve an evolution point. Which, of course, he is very much free to do. I don't want to use Mutagenic Bolt now, so the question, of course, is what do I... Hello. Hello, hello. Got a couple of fits there set out. Splendid. He can't finish me anyway, so I've got initiative here. I've got initiative. Substitution. Well, I think this is where basically Mutagenic Bolt, like, I got plenty of health, and with this, well, I could also Levi, but maybe I should do that instead. Wait, Mutagenic Bolt, also draw myself a card, maybe go closer to Aussie. I think I'm going to do that. Like, I want, if possible, to just fill up the board and then we just sort of nuke it with Mutagenic Bolt. Though most tactical nukes do not turn people into rats or things into rats. Alright, Magna Legacy, very much a common move as of late. Just going to fill up the board, create a difficult to remove threat. And again, I want to invite him into just, you know, filling up the board. I want to Mutagenic Bolt him, if possible. That is the one great desire. And then you can finish him off with Mysterian Missile, so that's the battle plan as such. Oh? So he's worried about me pulling off something here, and is lastly going to try and just clear it out this way, spending all of my Earthrights. Cheeky. Cheeky. Alright. Whew. Well. Shouldn't be able to kill me, and I've essentially got Chain Lightning to finish him off with. Yup. GG. Here we are against Forestcraft, and we got an absolutely terrible opening hand. This is better, this is better. 1-drop, 2-drop. The Magic Illusionist versus Forestcraft has a very high likelihood of not being that good, so Mysterian Whelmist is probably going to see a lot more usage. depending on circumstances. Sun Laboratory, even better though to be played on turn 2. Even better. Oh, wow. It's neutral Rune. Fascinating. I haven't seen that one in a bit. So far to say that one has dropped off a bit lately. It's still played, but it's nothing compared to mid-range or aggro forest like it used to be the most popular, expansion ago, but it has completely dropped off the radar, to be honest. And just sees next to no usage. Well, it pulled an Oz, which is good. Which is very good. I'm just going to play that one. Push ahead. Alright. Guess we just play Halo Golem as is. And trade here. Just to make sure. Granted, I might just have played into Hector, to be honest, but I think Hector's going to get that one either way. I'd rather just have less room on the board to do stuff with, to be honest. On the island, if he doesn't have Hector, Jungle Warden. Interesting. There certainly has been an increase in neutral decks for sort of sneaking in other things like that. They're still overall on the rarer end of the spectrum. Double Mutagenic Bolt doesn't particularly do me an amazing larger good. Guess I'm gonna sacrifice the Wormist. Well, obviously he has Beauty and the Beast, in which case I just Mutagenic Bolt that straight up. Elftrin's Assault. So he's got 2 neutral cards in hand. It's also clearly playing a more aggressive version. I mean, the controlled version of Neutral Force is pretty much just sort of left. I'm just going to do that, I think. But it also means if he's only got 2 neutral cards in hand, he just expended 1. His chances of triggering Beauty and the Beast just drop massively. As you can see there, it's not very good. It's not very good. So I'm just going to do it like this. Trade. I'm not going to use Starseer's Telescope here because I risk drawing into spell, and if Arslan dies, I'm going to lose all those spells, and don't want to lose them. Slightly awkward hand. Wise Merman doesn't buff it because that's actually a Runecraft follower. There you go. Second one. And then we just Halo Golem into Carl. Then we start his Telescope. We drew our final Mutagenic Bolt as well. And we drew an Abomination Awaken, though we don't have a particularly large amount of use for him right now. I mean, he basically arrived too late. He arrived way too late, unfortunately. I mean, having drawn him on turn 3, he'd be pretty amazing. That Elftrin Assault just does not have a lot of bite anymore. And neither does that. Game over. And we're up against Shadowcraft. Something Burnham's always going to do well. Oh, hello. I like this opening hand, even going second. I mean, the only thing that can sort of go wrong if it's got Troth's Curse, you can just remove that one. That's about it. That sort of really leaves me in a bad spot. Holding too many goblins, though, might also qualify as not amazing for me either, though. Staircase to Paradise. I'm actually not sure what that deck's supposed to be. I mean, could be some sort of resurrection deck. I don't think mid-range wants to run that. Yeah. Basically trying to become the, shall we say, usual issue that runs in these decks run into, might be. To ensure they just have stuff they can resurrect with. Straight there. Face. Basically to ensure he doesn't have anything to like easily Troth's Curse with on my Abomination. As that would make me pretty sad. And obviously ruin a point of this deck. Alright. Alright. Yes! Oh dear, just high rolled. I feel so dirty. Double Abomination. Oh god, I have no idea how he intends to handle this. He's desperately drawing for cards and trying to heal him out himself a bit as well, but the main problem remains. How does he out heal these two? There we go, he's gonna have to attack into it. And of course the issue remains. I can just keep hitting away. Oh boy. That is some really bad luck from my opponent. I don't think they actually run Troth's Curse now that I think about it. At least they're less likely compared to mid-range. I'm not entirely sure how he intends to stop this. I mean, I have no idea how to stop 2 Awakened Abomination in a row in any sort of remotely cost-efficient manner. In this regard, it sort of falls into the same category as, you know, Corpse Lord, where the real pain to remove in while they can attack. But the problem is if you don't, like, one way or the other, they trigger it, in which case they're going to hurt you next turn, so it just means real pain. Huh? I see. Yeah, that's it. So there you have it, Abomination Burn Rune, a much more aggressive version of it. Again, that sort of to an extent tries to just, you know, get a bit lucky there with Abomination just going full frontal there. And Abomination Awakened is just, in many ways, a really nasty aggro card. In part, it also just throws off your opponent because, are you neutral, Rune? I mean, there's some that actually run Earthrights as well, so it can be a bit difficult to determine fully. And even then, like, they can't ignore it because if you evolve it, that's 6 damage. That's almost 1/3 of the total health of your leader. Like, you can't ignore Abomination Awakened. Like, that's sort of the nasty thing about him. And it certainly took some time before most aggressive decks think to what I mean. Even neutral aggro basically runs a couple of Abomination Awakened. So, I mean, it can really just inflict pain if ignored. And, like, the way it works, it's quite difficult to remove. Like, Swordcraft is one of the few classes that have easy tools for removing it. You know, just, you know, that's 3 PP. And then you have Shadowcraft with, you know, the Curse of Troth, which can, you know, alongside some follow-up, removed as well. But overall, like, it's very difficult to easily remove, and that makes it a very, very nasty thing to deal with. And obviously gives it some pretty strong power. I mean, it's only really against aggro decks that's going to just, you know, quickly catch under it that sort of it runs into issues, and that's about it. Obviously, the rest of Burn Rune sort of takes a hit, but I mean, I could imagine, like, whatever, depending on what happens for Runecraft next, they could still try and sneak in some Abomination Awakens just to create that big threat. I mean, in some ways, it's a very potent aggro card, even if it gets used in other cards like, you know, Ginger Rune, where it sort of acts more as a control element, but just a big threat. And big threats, for, you know, not a very large price, tend to, you know, pay off quite nicely. So, I mean, there you go again. It's kind of cheap, though not quite as cheap as other Burn Rune decks, but still runs a lot cheaper than the average other deck like Tier 1. Can work pretty well, can surprise your opponents. It deals with Portal pretty nicely, as it sort of tends to just negate all of their stuff because it just burns away, and Portal does not handle burn very well. It can also deal with Shadowcraft to a reasonable degree. It struggles a bit with Swordcraft, particularly its aggro can completely fly under the radar if you're not prepared for it. In part, Bladed Headshot can just really punish you if you got played on Magic Illusionist and they just keep, you know, racking up the easy kills on, for example. So there are some things there to keep in mind while playing the deck. But overall, it's a fun one. It's aggressive. It's kind of cheap. It sort of allows you to do some neat stuff. And, I mean, it allows you to use this chat as well, which, you know, is kind of cool. So, I mean, if you want, you know, something that isn't just, you know, throw down stuff, it has some other potential, you know, things to throw out and just, you know, some fun surprises like these two. I mean, you can consider Abomination Burn Rune. I mean, particularly if you just got a few Abominations you just don't know what to do with, which is basically how I found myself making this deck. Like, I had an animated one and just, I wanted to use it for something, really. So, I mean, there you go. Abomination Burn Rune. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. This is Imperial Dane turning off for another video, another 2 days' time. My apologies, this one got delayed, by the way, but Total War Thrones of Britannia sort of threw a slight wrench in the spanners there, so kind of pushed out there to get in first. But oh wait, another 2 days, we can have another video up. Do feel free to let me know in the comments if there's some type of deck you want to see. I'll maybe try and look into that, though. No, I don't do control decks. They're just not fun for me. I just don't work with them. But like mid-range decks, aggro decks, maybe some combo decks, and I'll try and look into them. This is Imperial Dane signing off. I'll be back in another 2 days' time. Cheers!